Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming, homage to Master Sakya Tengku, homage to the 16th Dharma King Kamapa, and homage to Master Dzogchen Dorje. Homage to the rituals of the altar, and homage to the main deity of the group practice today. Of the Eastern Lapis Lazuli realm, the Medicine Buddha. All Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, fellow disciples present here and over the internet. And our participating VIPs today from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Taiwan, Secretary General Liao's wife, Dharma Sister Judy. Accountant to the True Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa.
Okay, I'm going to switch to analog. I'm going to switch the input to analog.
From CTI TV Taiwan, producers for the Guinea Bien Sington, Dharma Sister Rebecca Shiachi. And from the Sunny Line Dancers of Taiwan, Dharma Sister Tsai Ming, Dharma Sister Jie Hui Ling, Dharma Sister Ling Shen, Dharma Sister Yang Liu Ling, and from Hong Kong, Dharma Sister Su Guing. And an entrepreneur from Hong Kong, Dr. Kenneth Loy and family. And Dr. Lin Su Hua. Okay, thank you. Oh, and it's not written here.
Yes, I want to make sure I don't blow your eardrums.
And the law advisor to True Buddha School, Dharma Sister Jennifer Zhou. Good evening, everyone. How do you do? So today we had the practice of medicine Tathagata of the Eastern Lapis Lazuli realm. This deity in Buddhism, in Buddhism we have the 5 Dhyani Buddhas, and in the East there's Akshoba Buddha, and Medicine Buddha is also in the East. So in Buddhism, we think of them as 2 names with the same body. So the Medicine Buddha is the same as Akshoba Buddha. That's the opinion in the Buddhist world. And Vajrasattva, the patriarch of Tantrayana, so Adi Buddha, and then the 5 Dhyani Buddhas, and then the hot son of the 5 Dhyani Buddhas is Vajrasattva. So in the Buddhist world, it is extremely difficult to decide on Vajrasattva. So whose emanation is Vajrasattva? And there was a way, there was an opinion held in the Mahayana Buddhism that Vajrasattva is an emanation of Mahastama Prapta, which is Mahastama Prapta of the Amitabha Buddha, Kuan Yin, and Mahastama Bodhisattva that emanated to become Vajrasattva. And then there's another opinion that held that Vajrasattva is an emanation of Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. Samantabhadra Bodhisattva is different from Samantabhadra Tathagata, which is Adi Buddha. So Samantabhadra Bodhisattva is different from Samantabhadra Tathagata. And there was an opinion that said that Vajrasattva is an emanation of Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. And in Nyingma Pa, the opinion is that Vajrasattva is an emanation of the Akshobha Buddha. So there was this, because Akshobha Buddha was also called the immovable Buddha and also Vajrasattva. So there's another hypothesis. So sometimes it is very difficult to clarify all these different Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. It's really difficult to clarify the origins and the roots of these deities. So Medicine Buddha is also Akshobha Buddha, and Akshobha Buddha is also Vajrasattva, is also the immovable Buddha. It's very complex. So Medicine Buddha has his vows, and he is willing to uproot the sufferings of sentient beings. I often said in the past that I have met Medicine Tathagata, and the time that it was very clear, it was when I went to Korea. Is it okay to visit Korea now? No? Recently, there's no more news about Mars. It's gone, or is it still there? If it's still there, then it's best not to go there. And long ago, I went there, and I paid homage to the tall, standing Medicine Tathagata. And on the way back, I saw Medicine Tathagata. And the sunlight Bodhisattva and the moonlight Bodhisattva, the Medicine King Bodhisattva, the Supreme Medicine Bodhisattva, and the 12 Medicine Buddha generals, medicine generals. I saw them. At that time, I had some problems with my body. It's not just a little, but it was quite severe. So I have an imbalance of hormones. And after I saw Medicine Buddha at the bus, I said that I would be cured. I will recover because I saw Medicine Buddha. At that time, if I bent my waist to tie my shoes, then it became dark as if I was about to faint. So the trip that time was really hard for me. But I saw Medicine Buddha, radiating light, and the sunlight Bodhisattva, moonlight Bodhisattva, Medicine King Bodhisattva, Supreme Medicine Bodhisattva, and the 12 medicine generals all radiated light. And at that time I thought, since Medicine Tathagata appeared, so I would be saved. And sure enough, I recovered. And no more problems. Because Medicine Buddha had one of his vows was to uproot the suffering of all human beings. So, and since he appeared, so I could have peace of mind. So that's my affinity with the Medicine Buddha. Now let's continue to talk on the Great Perfection Dharma. Actually, Adi Buddha transmitted two important Dharma. The first one was Mahamudra. And in the ancient time, it was called the Ganges Mahamudra because it was popular along the river Ganges. And then later on, it transformed to become many other Mahamudras. But actually, they're just the same one with different names. So Adi Buddha, when he transmitted Mahamudra, he transmitted to a bodhisattva called the precious mind youth. So this precious mind youth was the patriarch for Mahamudra. And the supreme precious youth and precious mind youth are both lotus youths of Padma Kumara. So Padma Kumara could be said to be the patriarch for Mahamudra, the second patriarch. And the first patriarch would be Adi Buddha, and the second patriarch would be Padma Kumara. So I have written in the past on the highest Yoga Tantra and the Mahamudra. And that was a book I wrote about 20 or 30 years ago. That was book number 50 something. And now I have written 250 books. So in that earlier books, I have written a book about the Mahamudra and the procedures of Mahamudra. And now I'm talking about Great Perfection Dharma. And Great Perfection Dharma, where did it come from? The lineage, I have said this before, there were several patriarchs also transmitted by Adi Buddha. It's more perfect. Great Perfection Dharma is a more perfect system that also includes Mahamudra in it. So there's some people who compare Mahamudra with Great Perfection Dharma. But Great Perfection Dharma is more supreme than Mahamudra. That's what I said. The patriarchs of Great Perfection Dharma started from Sri Singha, transmitted to Padma Sambhava, and Sri Singha also transmitted to Vairochana. One is the Dakini Niktik, and the other one is the Paramaniktik. And combined, they become the Longqingpa Niktik. The Niktik or the fifth instruction. When Guru Padmasambhava received the Great Perfection Dharma, he transmitted to several people, but most importantly to his consort Ishichoka and to another person, which was the king Trisong Techen. And who was King Trisong Techen? Of course, Padmasambhava was lotus youth or Padmakumara. He was born from the lotus. He was lotus born. And King Trisong Techen, who was he? I have said that before. So that's why both Mahamudra and Great Perfection Dharma are inside my brain. That's why. Now we're talking about the Great Perfection Dharma of Tantrayana. Let me read a piece of the article. Of the precepts, meditation, or stabilization, and wisdom. Precepts is to stop the non-virtuous conduct. Stabilization is to focus the mind on a point, and wisdom is to see the truth amidst the falses. Simply stated, by keeping to the precepts, one's purified mind would be at ease. This peace of mind will allow one to gain meditative stabilization. And in the meditative stabilization, one can observe clearly and generate wisdom. In the precepts, meditation, stabilization, wisdom, liberation, and realization, it was written that first precept, second stabilization, third wisdom, fourth liberation, and fifth liberated realization. All five together called the five divisional Dharma body. The precepts are to prevent downfalls. Stabilization is to focus the mind. Wisdom is to see the truth. Liberation is to free oneself from all bondage and to attain nirvana. And liberated realization is the wisdom generated from nirvana. These three learnings of precepts, stabilization, and wisdom are called the three non-leaking learnings. So inside the Great Perfection Dharma, it talks about 4 stages. The first, in Mahamudra, they talk about 4 stages. The first one is the yoga of concentration. Like the Buddha said, if you concentrate on one point, you can do anything. That's the first one. The second one is the yoga of renunciation. So you abandon the drama, the play, because in this human world we just play. These are all just game playing. Like kids playing games. Once they get into the games, they cannot get out of them. So human worlds are just games. Once you get into it, you cannot get out. So the games of kids, children play the toy cars, but adults play the big cars. They're all obsessed and deluded. So children's are obsessed with toy cars, and a lot of people are also addicted to cars, all kinds of different cars, Lamborghini, Ferrari, whatever. They're all obsession. So the adults are obsessed to positions, money, and women. So you think only kids are deluded by it, but actually adults too, because those are all just games. So the second stage of Mahamudra is the yoga of renunciation, which means you abandon all the games. And the third stage is the yoga of one taste. So which means you and the yidam are of one taste. So you have reached that. So you treat everyone as the main deity, as the yidam. And the place I live is Pure Land. And all my friends are bodhisattvas, and I'm too a bodhisattva. And the sounds that I hear are mantras. And the songs I sing are spiritual songs. And I walk as if on lotus blossoms. And when I sleep inside the pure Buddha lands. So this, you are in the phenomena of one taste. So the third level is the yoga of one taste. And the fourth stage is the yoga of no practice. At that time, you don't need to do tantric. You don't need to do any more practices. So not practicing is the same as practicing. And practicing is the same as not practicing. Of course, this is very profound. It's very difficult to elucidate, because it already reached the state where all words die and all thoughts stop. You don't need to talk about anything. You don't need to think about anything. That's the realm of the yoga of no practice. So 4 realms of Mahamudra: the yoga of concentration, the yoga of renunciation, the yoga of one taste, and the yoga of no practice. 4 realms. Actually, those also exist in the precepts, stabilization, and wisdom. So the precepts is to concentrate so that your mind is focused. And when stabilization is that when you are wholehearted and focused, then you would generate wisdom. Because you have wisdom or prajna, then you would be liberated. So liberated is the same as the yoga of renunciation. And liberated realization is that you know how to be liberated. So it's the same as if you are in one taste realm. So this is called the 5 divisional Dharma body. And then the precepts, stabilization, and wisdom are the 3 non-leaking earnings. So precepts is the same as yoga of concentration. In this yoga, you want to be in retreat. And for yoga of renunciation, you want to live in the mountains. Only then you would generate meditative stabilization. So the yoga of one taste, then you're liberated. And then when you reach the yoga of no practice, that means you already have fruition in your attainment. So they are also related to the precept, stabilization, and wisdom. in our Buddhist studies, we have made our vows to abide by the precepts, like the 5 basic precepts or the Bodhisattva precepts. To Buddha school is incredible. Immediately they receive the Bodhisattva precepts, vows. Actually, the Bodhisattva precepts are very high. For the ordained monks and nuns, they include 3 different kinds of precepts. They include the 5 basic precepts and the Bodhisattva precepts and the precepts for the monks and nuns. So immediately you make the vow for Bodhisattva precepts. It's easy to make the vow, but it's very hard to keep the precepts. And the ordained monks and nuns have even more precepts. So precepts are extremely important. And what are precepts for? Is to help you to concentrate. That's the yoga of concentration. Let me share a joke. A daughter said, she's filial toward her mom, let me buy you a vacuum cleaner. Then you don't need to stoop over to sweep the floor. And the mom said, no, don't waste any money. And the daughter said, well, let me buy you a dishwasher. What would help you? And mom said, no, don't waste your money. And the daughter asked, what do you want then? And the mom said, nothing. Because your dad is already doing all this work. Because her mom doesn't have to do anything, her dad does everything. And grandmaster can perform those tasks too, and Simu too. And Simu works harder than I do. Today I told a nun, do you recite the Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra every day? And she said, no. Then do you perform prostrations every day? And she said, no. Then do you do your practice every day? And the nun said, no, I don't practice every day. And then I said, you know, your guru, every single day, he would perform prostration 200 times. You know, your guru, every single day, would recite the Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra, never miss a day. And your guru practiced every single day. He never missed a day. He never misses a day. For 40 years, always the same. 40 years. Anyone can compare to me. I never stopped practicing for 40 years. I don't know how many times Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra I have been reciting. And the prostration, the offering to the ghosts, the practice, I don't know how many times I've done all those. And practicing the qi, swallowing the saliva, I never stopped practicing. Not for a single day. The guru is like this, but his disciples, my disciples, especially a nun, do not follow my example. And she didn't even chant the Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra, didn't even do prostrations. How could she have any attainments? So as the disciples, we have to repent. So even the guru is doing that. How could the disciples, what the disciples do? Do you perform prostrations every day? Do you perform the 4 fundamental practices every day? What are the 4 preliminary or fundamental practices? Prostration, refuge. Recite the refuge mantra. Namo Gurupe Namo Buddhaya Namo Dhammaya Namo Sanghaya. Have you done that? To let you have strong commitment in your spiritual cultivation. But you don't do that. And prostration, have you done it? No. Offering, have you done it? No. Grandmaster every day does that. And offerings to the ghosts and gods, have you done it? No. And then the repentance practice, have you done it? No. So you're lazy. I have no time because I practice so much. So these are what you have to do every day. So the 4 preliminary practices you don't even do. Have you generated bodhicitta? So monks and nuns are Dharma propagators. You cannot even help yourself. How could you help others? So you should repent. Like grandmasters writing, every single day I would write. You ask Simu, every single day I would write. I write until I sweat. Because sometimes I have to check on some materials, and then sometimes it takes a little time, and then I have no more time. I have to flip open the books. I cannot use computers because sometimes I forget because I need to write it in details. So every single day I write from my high school time till now. 250 books, that's how I could write 250 books. And practice for over 40 years. That's how I do my practice. It's not a simple matter. You need to abide by the precepts. So precepts is to keep your body so that all you do is spiritual cultivation, because monks and nuns already left home, so you cannot be lazy. You have to be diligent, and in your spiritual cultivation. In the 6 paramitas, they all include diligence. In givings, you have to be diligent. In meditation, you have to be diligent. In endurance, you have to be diligent. In wisdom, you have to be diligent. And also precepts. Abiding by the precepts, you have to be diligent. All of them, you have to be diligent in all of them. Mom saw the little girl, her little girl crying, and then tried to comfort her. Don't cry, because if you cry, you become ugly. And the little girl stopped crying and then looked at Mom. So did you cry a lot when you were little? Because the little girl saw Mom to be rather old and rather ugly. Actually, it's not easy to be mothers. They have done so much things so that they become tired and ugly because of their children, for their children. So they're also keeping their daughters, their children. It's also a lot of hardships to be mothers. When they become old, they wish that their children would succeed. Now Grandmaster is old, and I wish that every disciple would have attainments, not just the ordained monks and nuns. Of course, they have to abide by the ordination precept even more so, and the Bodhisattva precept holders would also have to abide by the Bodhisattva precepts. I'm old already, and I wish that you would have attainments, that my disciples would have attainments. And you need to learn from me. Every single day, I write and I practice. I never stop. Sometimes, when I get on the Hui's car, because we had to leave earlier, and I didn't have time to practice. As soon as I get on the car, immediately I perform my visualization, reciting chantra, mantra, and practicing. Always practicing. Master Dehui, inside, outside. Is that what I did? Yes. In the car, I would be very quiet for a period of time. I was practicing. I never stop for a single day. Even when I travel on the plane, I also practice. You think that you are on vacation or you're on a plane that you don't practice. No. Even when I'm on vacation, go to Japan or Europe or wherever, every morning I would do my homework. Only afterwards that I would start my day and had breakfast. I never stop even for a single day. So you must be great. You must be greater. So I can teach you, and I will teach you this way. A man told the woman, if you need money, come and see me. And the lady was really pleased that her boyfriend was really nice. If I need money, I can go find my boyfriend. And the man said, I also don't have much money, and I can teach you how to live a life without much money. So this is what Grandmaster is teaching everyone. Whatever I have, I teach to you. I teach you whatever I have. I teach you how to practice. What is it that you're lacking? What is it that you need to replenish? This is very important. We cannot be lazy. Spiritual cultivators cannot be lazy, cannot be indolent. Simu is never lazy. She's very diligent. The same with me. I never get lazy, never. I always do work. If I have nothing to do, then immediately I get into meditation and I do my qi practice. So if you have nothing to do, it's the best time to practice. So, moreover, if you have lots of to do. So our family had an agreement to raise a pig. I had raised pigs before and also chicken. So, but they need to split the task. So we have to pick someone to feed the pig, and someone is to clean the pig's stall, because the pig stall is very dirty. We need to use water to clean it. And someone is to bathe the pig. Wow. Pigs these days need to be bathed, but in the past we don't bathe pigs. Sometimes we use water hose just to spray on the pigs, that's all. So someone is to play with the pig. Wow, that's over. So they treat the pig as a pet. So the family asked the youngest daughter, "You're the youngest one, so you choose first." And the youngest daughter was not hesitant at all, and she said, "Let me beat the pig." So the youngest daughter said that she wants to be the pig. So by being a pig, you're lazy, too lazy. You cannot be lazy. We want to be diligent. In the journey of the West, talking about diligence, the monkey king is the more diligent one, and the precept pig is the more lazy one. And then the and in the journey to the West, Tang San Zhang, the monk, is incapable. He relies on his disciples. And the monkey king represents the anger or aggression. He gets angry easily. And the precept pig represents greed. And Sa Jing is like a spirit, it represents the foolishness or ignorance. And the white horse that is ridden by the monk represents the, which is like the running monkeys and moving thoughts. So basically it's the moving or mind or heart. So actually in the journey of the West, there's symbols or representative of greed, anger, delusion, incapability of the monk. So the monkey king is very fiery, and the lazy pig and the foolish Sa monk, and then the incapable monk, and then the galloping or running around horse. So pay attention to eradicate all of your habitual tendencies. Only this way your spiritual cultivation would be beneficial. You would benefit from your spiritual cultivation. Talking about quitting, the wife is trying to help the husband quit smoking. If the husband smokes a cigarette, then he has to be punished to sleep on the sofa for 3 days. And one day, he smoked a cigarette and he slept on the sofa for 3 nights. And then the 4th day, he smoked a cigarette again. So he slept again on the sofas. And a month later, the wife couldn't stand anymore. You're not quitting smoking, you're quitting sex. So, quitting, precepts of quitting, and also stabilization. The husband cannot quit, the husband cannot stabilize. A lot of people cannot control themselves. Some people like to gamble, and once they get addicted to it, they always go to the gambling places. It's very difficult to quit gambling. We have a fool. What is that thing? So to stabilize your evil heart and wandering spirit. So we have a fool to have you quit gambling. But sometimes it doesn't work because your addiction is too strong. And every day you want to go gambling. It's very difficult to quit gambling. My mom told me this before. Taiwanese love to play the poker cards. The 4-color cards. The cards are. It's like Shang-Chi, the Chinese chess. So you play this Taiwanese cards. He played this really, he was really addicted to playing this game. And he couldn't stop, so finally he resolved by cutting his all fingers. But he still did not stop gambling. He put like a bowl of dust and placed the cards on it. So it's really difficult to quit gambling. My mom told us another story that we had a relative that the daughter was about to get married, and then before the groom's car arrival, come on, let's play a game of cards. The whole family loved to play, and the bride too. The bride also loved to gamble, wearing the bridal gown, and they played that. And the firecrackers started, and the bridal carriage came. Just trying to get the bride, and the bride said, "Let's change the date. No more wedding today." So you can even postpone your wedding date. So think about it. It's really hard to abide by the precepts. If you can quit, if you can abide by the precepts, then you can stabilize once you have this meditative stabilization, then you would generate wisdom. And this wisdom would help you gain liberation. And then you would gain the liberated realization. So we cannot become addicted to the deviant ways or paths or bad habits like drinking, smoking, gambling, and pornographic nightclubs. You can't be addicted to positions and status. Like for elections, you don't want to get addicted to that. As spiritual cultivator, we want to cultivate the best we can and to abide by the precepts and to generate meditative stabilization and to generate wisdom. A lamb are in love with the wolf. And they encountered the god of death. And the god of death said, only one of you can stay alive. So why don't you play and check? So play like the rock, paper, and Caesar. And finally, the ram died. So the wolf and the lamb. So this is the habits. So if you calculate others, actually sometimes when you hurt others, you hurt yourself. So if you are just naive and kind, sometimes you would win. This is important. You need to be honest and you need to keep your promise and don't change, because the lamb and the wolf are in the real world. So they just... Let me share the last joke. A man and a woman, boyfriend and a girlfriend, riding on a horse. And the man really loves the woman. And they ride on a horse up the mountain next to a cliff. Now, the lady asks, "Are you going to marry me?" We're next to the cliff, a man and a woman together. So the man asked the woman, would you want to marry me? And the woman said, "Jia" in Chinese. And to the horse, that means "jia" means run. See, like in the movies, when you say "jia," the horse would run. So when the horse ran, both died. So wisdom is important. So it's good to be with one heart. That's good. If they're not one heart, then they're dead. But these two people, although they are for each other, but they have no wisdom. So the horse ran over the cliff. So these three are all important. Precepts, stabilization, wisdom are all very important. And this is called the three non-leaking learnings of Buddhism.